Hey guys, what's up? It's your boy Shanus, and we're at home base. Today's episode is the holiday gift buyer's guide, so let's jump straight into it. So first things first, I'm going to start off with a disclaimer in that I've done these guides for the last few years. So this is actually going to be new and updated things. If you want to go see some more ideas, I'll post links to the other videos down below. But let's get the expensive and obvious things out of the way. So one, of course, is going to be car parts. Now, if you don't know exactly what that person wants, then of course this is going to be a little trickier. However, a lot of online merchants that sell car parts essentially also have a gift card system. So when in doubt, a gift card might actually be the best route to go, especially because some car parts are very expensive. So do with that information what you will. But of course, if you have the money and the availability, then of course that's the obvious route. Another one, which is also kind of a high ticket item, but people don't always think about, is if you have a car enthusiast, especially someone who is tracking or doing like a lot of events, something as simple as a GoPro. Again, it's very obvious, and the nice thing is that they have so many models that you could actually get. I believe they still sell the GoPro 8, but if not, it might be the 9, because now I think they're all the way up to the 11th or 12th maybe, can't remember. But you can get these in a variety of prices. Realistically, if you're wondering if you should splurge on the latest and greatest as opposed to the 8 and the 9, honestly, yes, there's extra bells and whistles, but they all pretty much do the exact same job. And realistically, the difference between each iteration is kind of negligible, so you can get away with getting a slightly older model and save a little bit of money. And the nice thing is that if not GoPro accessories, all of the accessories from I believe the 8 on up are pretty much universal. Double check though, just to be safe. But GoPro accessories, you could do like a media kit if somebody wants to start vlogging. You could do batteries, a battery charger. There's just so many things that you could buy for GoPros. So I think that's obviously one of the best choices of a little portable camera without diving into getting like expensive mirrorless or DSLR options. Now, before we get into the really interesting territory, I'm gonna also bring out more affordable options, and this next one is actually one that I think is just very common, very easy to find, and realistically, like I said, it's easy on the pockets, and that's just accessories that you could buy just in general, kind of like little trinkets. So for example, you have obviously famous anime stickers right here, the little peekers. They make them for every series. Really, you can't go wrong with these. So another thing you can get for the car lover in your life is also little things like this little pin from a car brand called Endangered. So there's also air fresheners. This is from Donut Media, as you can see, or even something like a license plate frame, also from Endangered. So just car companies that make things like air fresheners, stickers, license plate frames, pins. Depending on your person, they might like these kinds of things, and realistically, they're affordable. They could be a stocking stuffer. They're just very easy to find, especially with Donut and some other brands. Believe it or not, you can actually find apparel and things like this at Zoomies, as you can see. Again, not advertising, but I'm just trying to make your guys' life easier. Zoomies is, definitely easy to find at shopping malls around the world. So essentially, it'll be much easier to find things like that. Or, for example, even this thing behind me, if your significant other has wall space or a garage, there are companies, and you can find some of these at Zoomies, where they do banners now that are essentially made out of good fabric material that you could just post on your walls. Instead of having a poster, these things will last the test of time. So the last obvious one I'm going to focus on is that most people that are into cars are also into video games or, multimedia. So this one, obviously, you want to figure out what your person games on if they're a gamer, whether that be the Nintendo Switch, the Sony PlayStation, Microsoft Xbox, or a PC. But of course, you have racing video games. Gran Turismo is obviously a staple for the PlayStation people. If your person's more of a Microsoft or an Xbox player, you're going to be looking for Forza. There's also series like Need for Speed or The Crew. Again, just games that you could look into. Just make sure that if you do happen to go into a store like your local GameStop, just ask which one's the latest and greatest, and of course make sure your significant other doesn't already have the title. Also, movies, right? So this is the new Gran Turismo movie that just came out. If they happen to sell like a limited edition or a steelbook, obviously that makes it a little more desirable and a little more gift worthy because the actual presentation is kind of nice, and sometimes you have little extra bonuses and whatnot. So Again, great gift ideas. So with those more common ones out of the way, the next one, I actually kind of touched base on it a little bit, but I mentioned zoomies, and the reason why is because apparel. So many people like to wear the things that they actually are, into, like video game paraphernalia, things like that. Especially nowadays, pop culture has a lot of clothing that is anime related or some kind of show, but what about cars? And I'm glad you asked. So that's where companies like Endangered come in, where they make, as you can see, that basically is car related. This one's actually really nice and endearing to me because it says drive safe, right? I mean, I know that a lot of people, especially car enthusiasts, like to have their, foot to the floor. So always, nice message. Obviously also has a dog in this for the pet lover in you. So whether it's shirts, whether it's hats, whether it's a hoodie, you can't go wrong with clothes. Just make sure obviously that you get the right size and preferably the color that they prefer. But there's many companies out there. If you don't know where to look online, like I said, Zoomies now carries a lot of different brands, from Shinya to Donut Media to DGK, who makes some car stuff now. So it's really that much easier and accessible now to find apparel for the car lover in your life. Moving on to more car specific stuff, one thing that I've always addressed before is dress up kits, or things that basically make the vehicle more yours. So things like, for example, you have these caps that 6-Speed makes, which are basically radiator cap covers. So you add a little bit of flash and flare to your engine bay. Or for example, they have dress up kits where you could put these colored washers. They come in a variety of colors. Obviously these are rose gold, but any color that you could think of, they usually make. You could stick to the 6-Speed brand, or you can obviously also go with like eBay brands. Again, they're universal. They come in a variety of colors. So whatever color scheme that person's going for, you could find. And then these washers also make great dress up kits with license plate frames. When you bolt it on, you have the little washer, and it just adds even more color. Otherwise, so a nice little customization. So very simple, very affordable, and things that most car lovers would like. If you happen to know more about their car and you're feeling confident enough, there's also interior pieces that add nice little flair to it. Of course, I would first consult with that car lover in your life to see if it's something that they'd like. But for example, they sell things like this, which are carbon fiber covers for the seat buttons. If your car has electric seats, they obviously do carbon fiber accenting for the interiors, for dash kits, things of that nature. Another common one would be shift knobs, that there's a plethora of, and so again, you kind of have to do a little more homework to get the right sizing, but you can get a custom shift knob for the person that drives a manual car. Now if you're wondering, well, what if my person drives an automatic? Automatic's going to be a little harder, but if they drive something that's got paddle shifters, or basically like a dual clutch transmission, there is a solution for that, and that is paddle shift covers. So these I'm opening up these are fake. You can get real ones if you have the money, but these are fake carbon fiber. They make real carbon fiber ones. They make real alloy ones, and numerous colors of metals. So again, these are nice little extenders. Most cars that have paddle shifters are very short and just you don't have a lot of play with them. These extenders are nice because not only do they add obviously flair to the moment that you get into the steering wheel, because they're much more noticeable, but also they're just easier because there's more space, there's more real estate to shift on the paddle shifts when you're driving spiritedly. So these are good if you obviously don't have a driver in your life that has a manual. Now, for some of you, you're probably wondering, well, Seamus, a lot of the people, or at least the car lover in my life, is more of a function over form type of person. They're not really into dress up things. They like things that have a purpose. Well, then this one's easy. This can get very expensive, but tools, I know this isn't a socket, it's a wrench, but it is a ratcheting wrench. So this makes life easy, where you could basically, spin endlessly in one direction or the other, right? You ratchet. So, in tight spaces. Obviously there's toolkits. You can go to Lowe's, Home Depot. You can buy different brands. They have a variety from very small kits that are pretty affordable to very large kits where they have like 200 or more tools within the chest. So again, that's really up to you based off of your budget. And of course, I would always ask, what kind of tool do you need? Is there a specific brand you like? Or there's also trinkets like this, which I'm actually going to be doing reviews on some of these products. I've had them for a while and I haven't been able to get those out, so just bear with me. But so this is actually a digital tire pressure gauge. And so essentially this is the future. It's that small. It's smaller than a pen. So before, you used to have those little kind of cheap metal ones where it would actually pop out the PSI based off how much pressure it had, or you had the really big digital gauges. Now, like I said, it's the size of a pen, it's digital, it's accurate, so you can literally just press the button and it'll tell you in large numbers what the pressure is. So this one's kind of giving me the outside pressure. It's locked, so give me a second. But essentially, tire pressure gauge, again, you just push it in, immediately it'll give you a very large reading. You'll know exactly your tire pressure. And the nice thing is, because it is digital, you don't have to start looking at little lines to see if you're exactly where you need to be. You're gonna get a very clear readout. The numbers are gonna be just right in your face, so you'll know if you've gone exactly where you need to, if you need more, if you need less. Very practical, rechargeable, so you don't have to buy batteries. Again, they have things like this on Amazon. You could buy them on eBay. For the time being, I haven't found these at local auto parts stores. So again, online is going to be your best friend. But they have things like this, or even, I don't have one to show you, but I'll put a picture up here. There's even more modern and compact tire inflators. So again, for that person in your life that every now and then needs to reinflate their tires, especially right now with the colder weather in some areas, your tires, essentially the pressure drops and you have less pressure, or sometimes some small air leaks out where you need to reinflate the tires to not trigger, for example, your tire pressure sensors in the car. So before you used to have these big bulky things, now you have things that are the size of a larger battery backup. So again, it's very handheld, very easy. And the nicest thing is that before, instead of having to wait, some of these are even programmable to basically you set the PSI that you need it to be filled up to, and it'll automatically stop once it gets there. So a little bit on the pricier side, depending on your budget, but another really cool tool to have nonetheless for the car lover in your life. So these next two, depending on where you get them, might be on the pricier side, but these are trinkets that you could use inside the car depending on that car lover in your life. And there's chime boxes like the waifu prison. If you haven't seen this is all over TikTok, all over social media. Essentially, it's USB powered. The moment that you turn on your car, the USB will power up and then it'll play a chime. They're preloaded with a lot of chimes, usually anime related or in a Japanese kind of anime voice. But of course, this particular company has DLC where they have a lot of different voices, not just girl voices, but they have male voices for the lady car lover out there. They've even added some new cool ones. There's a new DLC pack on their website that you should definitely check out. They're not the only company that makes one of these, but this is kind of the more social media popular one that you see around. So I'm gonna plug it in real quick so you can kind of see what it does. But essentially, you turn on your car and then you basically got oh, it's not playing because I plugged it into the computer. But essentially, you'll get a clip like. So again, you get the idea. They have a bunch of different little chimes that will greet you or say something the moment that you get into your car. So that's nice. Or, forgive me for the background noise, my dog's barking out there. You have these, which I'm sure you've seen everywhere. This one I'm going to review real soon too. I'm testing it out. And so far, good stuff, right? This is a wireless CarPlay adapter. They make some that are universal for both wireless Apple CarPlay or Android Auto. But make sure that you first recognize what kind of cell phone device your lover uses. Whether it is Apple, you're going to need to get one that's specifically Apple CarPlay. Otherwise, if they use Android devices, then you need one that says Android Auto. This one is unfortunately not universal. It's only for Apple CarPlay. But what it does is, especially in some of the older vehicles that have, you have to plug in your CarPlay, you constantly have to plug in your iPhone, for example, or your Android device. This little box plugs in and stays plugged in, so when you turn on your car, you don't actually have to do the connection yourself anymore and plug in your phone. It'll wirelessly connect, your phone will wirelessly connect to this device. This device will send all of the information to your multimedia unit that's built into the car, and you just have a seamless connection. Like I said, so far, I've been testing this out, and this one works amazing. This is the only name brand one I've found so far. You can find a plethora of them online, like at eBay and Amazon. But this one's made by Rexing, which is a well-known brand that makes dash cams, which is why I decided to test this one out. It is a little on the pricier side. Sometimes you can find it on sale for about $100, but it works. I haven't had any, so far, bad stuff, but I will give a full review. They're not perfect. Keep in mind, you might have some hiccups here and there, But from, take it from me, I have had a very successful experience with this to the point that I would definitely recommend it. Now, this next one's really cool because it's along the same lines of audio, and you're probably going to be, some of you might say, hey, the person in my life likes older cars, and, they're trying to restore an older car. They have a cassette player. They're trying to keep it, as close to OE spec as possible. So how can, they modernize their system? And I'm glad you asked. So this right here is the mixtape. You can find this online. I'll put a link. But essentially, this is a small business that basically makes quite literally an MP3 player that's built into a cassette tape. And so what it is you put in a micro USB card and load up all your music. And essentially, this is its own MP3 player. So you have a headphone jack right here, and it's got a built-in battery, so you could quite literally recharge. This one's got USB-C. But this newer model has touchscreen. So essentially, let me turn this on, and you'll see, but this thing will turn on. It'll turn on, and then you have your menus. So this is your music, right? The nice thing is that built in, this has Bluetooth. So again, even if this person has a more modern stereo, and they're that type of person that doesn't like using, for example, Spotify or Apple Music, or don't like the radio, they can have one of these. They can upload whatever library they want onto this. This can connect to their vehicle's Bluetooth if they have it. Or going back to people that have older cars, it's an actual functional cassette. So you can literally put this in the cassette player, and as long as you tell it to play, it will play like a normal cassette. The music, obviously, that you have, stored on this. So it is really neat. Again, also works as an MP3 player, so you have volume controls. You can use any wired headphones, or because it does have Bluetooth capabilities, you can use Bluetooth headphones. This thing is quite possibly like one of the coolest things that exist, and most of the time you can get it for like $50. And it comes with, a plethora of things. They have little bundles that even have like its own carrying case that looks like a cassette. So this is really cool. I'm sure whoever gets this would definitely appreciate it. So I'm reaching the end of my ideas that I'm providing. However, I think that these last two are probably some of the coolest ones. This next one you might have seen all over social media, but it is essentially made by a small company called Desai, and it is the Mochi. This is the updated version that you could buy everywhere. They come in different colored helmets, which is really neat. Forgive me, the sun just went down. But the nice thing about these is that the helmets are interchangeable. They sell them in different colors. So again, you should be able to find the color of preference for that person in your life. For the ladies out there, they do have girlier colors. And if you haven't seen this, let me plug this in for you so you can see kind of what it does. So again, I'm going to show you that the unit itself is removable. It's got its own little built-in speaker and nice little screen, so you can swap out the helmets at any time. It's powered by USB-C, and I can't remember, I'll double check, but I think they include Velcro. So if you want to, essentially it's meant to have in your car with you at all times, like a little driving companion. They often release special versions of these. Unfortunately, by the time that you see this video, the sale on one of the limited edition Gundam versions will unfortunately be over. But to give you an idea, they have that. And so essentially, right, you plug in and there you go. You have a little animated character with you at all times. I'm going to review this as well. Literally first time plugging it in, so I have no idea how it functions and how you could change the sounds or all the little like animations that it comes built in with. But but yeah, again, this is actually really neat. A lot of people like this. I'm sure you've seen it on social media. If I recall correctly, it's around $50 plus shipping. And again, you can order extra colored helmets. You can also order stickers that you can attach to the helmet. Oh, it's crying. You could buy stickers to add to the helmet so it looks like a racing helmet. So again, there's just a lot of cool things. And then of course, once you unplug it or once the car turns off, it essentially turns off itself as well. So again, a really cool, neat product. And this updated version has a very nice presentation now. I do have the first gen one, which I will show in the video review, but it's come a very long way since then. So this is really cool little neat trinket that I feel like most people would like in the car community. Before I show you the last thing, an honorable mention, kind of in the same honor of or idea of this last one, would be car kits. So obviously for those, there's a lot of people out there that collect Hot Wheels. So you could buy Hot Wheels, you could buy little die-cast models of cars. A lot of times you should even be able to find the exact model of car that that person in your life has, because most of these cars are popular enough that they have replicas and things like that. But with that out of the way, I believe I've talked about this in a previous video, and I have yet to play it, but I want to do a full review on the experience. And there's this card game called World Auto Racing, or WAR for short. Essentially, you can still find this online. I think this is the version that they're selling right now, which is the limited. So this is with the actual packaging. It's unopened. So it's got, geez, what's up with the sun? It's got war everywhere, and it's got, basically, these boxes contain 5 decks in each box. So you should be able to theoretically play with another person by just buying a box. And so I'm opening the box that I have already opened. You have your rule book, and yeah, as you can see, 5 individual decks. Each one has its own little things, and then of course once you get used to it, you could probably mix and match, shuffle the cards around. So for example, this has what looks like a 240, this has what looks like a Civic, and then this has what looks like a Porsche. So again, there's a lot of like stuff in here. I have yet to play it. An RX-7, and then you have a classic Mustang. So I don't know if all the cards are holo. I don't think so. I think just some of the special cards are holographic. But again, the box itself has a nice way of allowing you to just organize them. So when you're done playing, or you can even, obviously once you get good at this, you can customize your own deck, mixing and matching some of the cards. I do believe some of the cards are specific to the vehicles. Again, rules. This originally started on Kickstarter, so they had like 2 different editions. They had like a first edition and a Kickstarter edition. So I don't know which of these boxes you can still get online. I think it's this one, because when you go online, you see the orange car. I did show you the 240 in this deck, and it was a different color than it is here. So again, I believe this is the one that you can still pick up, which in my mind is actually kind of neat, because this one looks a little nicer. They also have little playing mats, kind of like large mouse pads that allow you to set your cards down and do all that stuff. So yeah, I think that about wraps up this video. Forgive me if I forgot anything obvious to mention. Like I said, I'm gonna link down the other videos that I've done down below, that I have other things that I show off, and there's actual, you know, product that I could show you. But hopefully this gives you some idea, especially if you were stumped and you just couldn't think of anything besides the obvious car parts for that person in your life, or you wanted to buy something smaller and you just have a tighter budget and you just couldn't think of what to buy. I should have mentioned these are like about 50 bucks plus shipping. So again, most everything that I showed you is at most anywhere between $20 to $60, with the exception of the smaller things like the stickers and the pins. A lot of these things are very affordable, right? Like the video games usually tap out at $60, $70. This caps out at 60 with shipping. The little tire pressure monitor was 20 bucks. So again, you have a lot of choices there. I think the GoPro was the only really expensive thing. And even then, I think that you could buy like one of the older models for 200 bucks, and it'll come with like a carrying case and everything. So again, just depends on your budget. Don't forget that really it's the thought that counts. Even something homemade, like I don't know if some of you people out there have Crickets, if you're crafty enough. My good friend Missy Kitty made me a little tote bag with my car on it, and it says Shayness, and this was all done with a Cricut machine. So like, I cherish this. This was a nice gift that I was given, and again, I don't think that she probably spent much because she already had the Cricut machine. So just get creative with it. Realistically, I think that when it comes to gifts, it's the thought that matters the most. And sometimes you can find some really neat things if you just look hard enough. Fortunately, the internet's a great place. Another place that you can start off looking is Etsy. Etsy, you can find all sorts of things, from keychains to custom license plate frames to just a ton of stuff, stickers, right? So get creative with it. Hopefully this gives you some idea. Maybe some of these things you never knew existed, and you're like, wow, like that person would love that. So I will try to include links to everything down below. But if you have any feedback, or if you have suggestions that I could not think of at the time and didn't mention, please put them in the comments down below. If it's really good, I'll even pin it, because obviously share the knowledge, right? Make sure that everyone's on the same page. But guys, that wraps up this video. More installs coming, more reviews of some of the things that were even in this video coming. Happy holidays, right? Like, you should be seeing this video the day before Thanksgiving, and so that gives you 2 days. Black Friday's right around the corner, which means that some of these things might actually have discounts and you'll be able to reap the benefits. But as always, guys, please stay safe, keep doing you. Thanks for all the love and support, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.